Luka Doncic, the full journey from Real Madrid prodigy to NBA superstar long before he was breaking scoring records, dropping 40-point masterpieces, and dominating the Western Conference. A teenage prodigy in Madrid was breaking the rules of professional basketball. When Luka Doncic first stepped onto a EuroLeague floor as a teenager, he wasn't just playing, he was dismantling hardened veterans who had spent decades mastering the European game. Relying not on explosive leaping ability, but on a preternatural understanding of pace and spatial geometry, he defied every traditional scouting report. Welcome to Legendary Files. Today, we are decoding the evolution of the Slovenian superstar. From capturing the youngest MVP award in Real Madrid's illustrious history to establishing himself as one of the most prolific triple-double threats the NBA has ever seen, we will break down the game of a player who completely rewrote the blueprint of a modern basketball superstar. We'll dissect his biomechanics, analyze the physics of his signature step-back, and define what the Luka era means as he cements his legacy in the 2020s. To truly understand the player Doncic is today, we have to look back at the crucible that forged him. At just 13 years old, a young Luka made a life-altering decision, leaving his native Slovenia to join the youth academy of Spanish powerhouse Real Madrid. This wasn't an easy transition. He was thrust into the unforgiving environment of professional European basketball, practicing and playing against grown men who were fighting for their livelihoods. He absorbed contact, learned how to play through physicality, and began to read defenses on a macro level. By the 2017-2018 EuroLeague season, the young Slovenian phenom didn't just compete against men, he dominated them. In an unprecedented campaign, a 19-year-old Doncic led Real Madrid to the EuroLeague championship while claiming both the regular season MVP and the Final Four MVP trophies. He swept the continent's major individual awards, becoming the youngest player to ever secure the EuroLeague MVP. Yet, leading up to the 2018 NBA draft, there were glaring doubts. NBA scouts, heavily accustomed to looking for hyper-athletic, high-flying perimeter players, questioned his ceiling. Despite the fact that he was routinely destroying professional defenders in the second-best league in the world, critics pointed to his perceived lack of elite vertical explosiveness or raw end-to-end speed. They wondered if his isolation game would translate against the longer, faster athletes of the NBA. They were wrong. Doncic proved immediately that a masterclass in basketball IQ and strength will always trump raw, unrefined leaping ability. To crack the code of Luka Doncic's offensive dominance, we must examine the biomechanics of his movement. If you watch traditional NBA guards, players like Russell Westbrook or Ja Morant, their game is defined by explosive, straight-line speed and verticality. Luka's game, however, is built on an entirely different scientific principle, deceleration. Doncic understands that to an NBA defender, sudden stops are far more jarring than sudden bursts. By utilizing elite footwork and a uniquely low center of gravity, Luka can accelerate, take one hard dribble, and stop on a dime. This split-second deceleration immobilizes defenders, causing them to shift their weight incorrectly. He forces his opponents to play at his speed, dictating the tempo of the game regardless of defensive pressure. Because he can instantly drop into a shooting stance or pivot after a hard stop, he generates separation out of thin air. This brings us to his signature move, the devastating, highly contested step-back three-pointer. Mechanically, Luka's step-back is a masterpiece of kinetic chaining. When driving left or right, he uses a violent drop step and a sharp push-off with his plant foot to create massive backward momentum. His torso leans back slightly, shielding the ball, allowing him to launch a high-arcing shot without being affected by the defender's reach. Furthermore, we must address his physical profile. Standing around 6 feet 7 inches and weighing approximately 230 pounds, Doncic possesses the size of a prototypical power forward but the ball handling and court vision of a point guard. When smaller, quicker guards pick him up full court, Luka uses his robust frame and back-down techniques to slowly bully his way into the paint. He absorbs contact, maintains his balance through core strength, and finishes with crafty floaters or kick-out passes. It is a mismatch by design. If you want to define what separates a good player from a generational one, look at their court vision. Doncic is widely recognized as an architectural mastermind on the hardwood, capable of manipulating defensive rotations with a mere glance of his eyes. Consider his magic passes, no-look feeds, hook passes from the paint, and pinpoint cross-court whips. Luka operates using high-level spatial awareness. When he drives, he doesn't just look at his primary defender, his eyes actively track the rotations of all four off-ball defenders. He utilizes masterful eye manipulation, looking off defenders by staring straight ahead, effectively freezing a safety helper in the corner before firing a laser beam pass to an open teammate for an uncontested three. He reads the floor 2 or 3 plays ahead. This unparalleled vision and scoring prowess led to historic statistical milestones. Long before turning 25, Luka was already shattering triple-double records, climbing the all-time NBA lists at a pace never seen before in league history. Whether he was playing for the Dallas Mavericks in his early years or steering the ship for the Los Angeles Lakers, Doncic's ability to control the game's tempo remained identical. Regardless of the defensive scheme thrown at him, whether teams deployed aggressive traps, switching defenses, or drop coverages, Luka plays at one pace, his own. He never rushes, never panics, and consistently finds the correct basketball play. To truly gauge the greatness of Luka Doncic, we must look at his playoff resume. The postseason is the ultimate proving ground, and historically, only the most elite superstars thrive under the intense, microscope-like scrutiny of playoff basketball. Luka has proven to be an absolute postseason assassin. In numerous playoff series, his scoring averages and overall offensive output have drawn historical comparisons to the absolute titans of the sport, Michael Jordan and LeBron James. Whether it is hitting buzzer-beating step-back game winners or carrying entire offensive loads against top-tier defensive units, his playoff performances have solidified his reputation as a player who raises his game when the stakes are at their absolute highest. Furthermore, Doncic's emergence has completely altered how NBA front offices build their rosters. For decades, the ideal NBA superstar was either a scoring shooting guard or a traditional point guard. Luka popularized and perfected the point forward archetype, a primary initiator with the size to post up, rebound like a big man, and run the pick and roll with absolute precision. Today, every franchise is looking for their own version of a big, physical primary playmaker who can dictate the offense. He has become the gold standard. His consistent excellence, deep playoff runs, and global appeal have positioned him as one of the definitive faces of the NBA. Following incredible seasons and a slew of scoring titles, Doncic commands the league's attention every time he takes the floor. As we look at the broader landscape of basketball, it is impossible to ignore Luka Doncic's impact on the internationalization of the sport. In the 2020s, European basketball players have taken the NBA by storm, and Doncic is a vanguard of this movement. Along with fellow European stars, he has proven that the fundamental, tactical style of basketball played overseas is a perfect foundation for absolute NBA dominance. He has inspired a new generation of international players to dream bigger, showing that European academies can produce the very best players on the planet. Looking at his current trajectory, the ceiling is practically limitless. At just 27 years old, with multiple All-NBA first-team selections and a scoring title under his belt, his career path is pointing directly toward top 5 all-time status. The only remaining goal to cement this status is the elusive NBA championship, which would add the definitive stamp of a winner to his individual accolades. Now, stepping into what promises to be the absolute apex of his physical and mental prime in June 2026, we are officially witnessing the Luka era. For the next several years, the NBA will revolve around his unique brand of basketball. His blend of scoring, playmaking, and sheer basketball intelligence sets a standard that redefines how the sport is played. As he enters the best years of his career, Doncic is no longer just the brilliant prodigy, he is the benchmark for greatness. From a 13-year-old boy leaving Slovenia to a European champion at Real Madrid, and ultimately to a dominant scoring machine in the NBA, the story of Luka Doncic is one of defying expectations at every turn. He didn't just adapt to the highest levels of basketball, he forced the game to adapt to him. If you enjoyed diving deep into the basketball mind of Luka Doncic, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to Legendary Files, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. Let us know in the comments below, where do you rank Luka among the greatest players of all time? Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next file.